Admiral Zexathara had witnessed the rise and fall of 17 galactic civilizations. Her crystalline exoskeleton bore the scars of countless battles, each mark a testament to the hegemony's dominance over the outer rim territories. Yet as she stared at the tactical display aboard her flagship, something cold settled in her core that had nothing to do with the vacuum of space. The humans had been silent for exactly 72 standard hours. "Status report," she commanded, her mandibles clicking with barely contained anxiety. "No response from any human colonies, Admiral," reported her communications officer, a six-armed Vorthak whose species had served the hegemony faithfully for 3 millennia. "All trading posts, military installations, and civilian settlements have gone completely dark." The silence was unprecedented. For the past 2 centuries since first contact, humanity had been manageable. They possessed rudimentary faster-than-light travel, basic energy weapons, and a peculiar tendency to argue among themselves. The galactic hegemony had classified them as a Class 3 civilization, advanced enough to be useful, primitive enough to be controlled. That assessment was about to prove catastrophically wrong. Zexathara's tactical display suddenly erupted in crimson. Warnings: ships were emerging from hyperspace. Not the clumsy, energy-intensive jumps the humans typically employed, but something else entirely. Sleek vessels materialized with surgical precision at strategic points throughout the system, their hulls bearing the familiar blue and white insignia of the United Earth Federation. But these weren't the same ships the hegemony had grown accustomed to brushing aside. "Admiral," her sensor operator's voice cracked with disbelief. "I'm reading energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. Their reactor output it's impossible. Those readings suggest they've somehow weaponized quantum vacuum fluctuations." The human fleet moved with a coordination that defied everything the hegemony knew about their command structure. No chaotic human bickering, no delayed responses due to their cumbersome democratic processes. They moved as one entity, like a predator that had finally revealed its true nature. The lead human vessel, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even Zexathara's flagship, opened a communication channel. The face that appeared on screen belonged to Admiral Sarah Chen, a human Zexathara had dismissed as just another upstart military leader during previous negotiations. "Greetings, Admiral Zexathara," Chen said, her voice carrying an unsettling calm. "I believe we need to have a conversation about the terms of our relationship." "You dare threaten the hegemony?" Zexathara snarled, her claws extending. "Your pathetic species barely qualifies as spacefaring. Stand down immediately or face annihilation." Chen's smile was thin and cold. "You've made several fundamental errors in your assessment of humanity, Admiral. The first was assuming our constant conflicts made us weak. They didn't weaken us, they perfected us." The human admiral gestured off-screen, and suddenly every display in Zexathara's command center filled with tactical data. Not their own sensors. The humans had somehow infiltrated their entire network. For 2,000 years we fought each other with increasing sophistication. We developed strategies for asymmetric warfare, urban combat, psychological operations, and resource denial. We learned to fight enemies with superior technology, greater numbers, and better positions. Most importantly, we learned that the greatest weapon isn't what you build, it's what your enemy doesn't know you have. The tactical display now showed the true scope of the human fleet. What Zexathara had detected was merely the tip of the spear. Thousands of vessels had been positioned throughout the system, many using some form of stealth technology that rendered them invisible to hegemony sensors until Chen chose to reveal them. "Your second error," Chen continued, "was believing that our political divisions were a weakness. You thought our democracy made us indecisive. What you failed to understand is that those same systems that slow our peacetime decisions become our greatest strength in war. Every human commander in this fleet was trained in independent thinking, creative problem-solving, and adaptive tactics. We don't need permission from a central authority to respond to changing situations." Zexathara's mandibles clicked frantically as she processed the implications. The hegemony's military doctrine relied on overwhelming force and strict hierarchical control. Their enemies had always been predictable, following established patterns of warfare. Your third and most critical error, Chen said, her eyes hardening, was assuming that because we appeared peaceful, we were harmless. Humanity spent the last 50 years letting you believe we were limited to the technology we showed you. While you conquered primitive species and absorbed stagnant civilizations, we were preparing. On cue, the human ships began demonstrating their capabilities. Energy weapons that phased through hegemony shields as if they didn't exist. Missiles that rewrote their own programming mid-flight to counter defensive systems. Most terrifying of all, some kind of weaponized space-time distortion that caused a hegemony cruiser to simply fold in on itself and disappear. We studied your tactics, your technology, your psychology, Chen explained as Zexathara watched her mighty fleet become increasingly obsolete with each passing second. We learned your weaknesses by pretending to be weak ourselves. Every trade agreement, every diplomatic summit, every cultural exchange was intelligence gathering. The human admiral leaned forward slightly. But here's what should truly terrify you, Admiral. Everything you're seeing right now, this is our restraint doctrine. This is us being diplomatic. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out. Human fleets had simultaneously revealed themselves at every major hegemony stronghold. Not attacking, simply appearing, demonstrating that they could have struck at any time and chosen not to. The stars have gone quiet, Admiral Zexathara, because humanity is no longer playing by your rules. We're not here to destroy the hegemony, we're here to restructure it. The age of conquest is over. The age of cooperation begins now. Zexathara stared at the impossible sight before her, finally understanding the true meaning of the ancient human phrase that their translators had always rendered poorly. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Humanity had been speaking softly for 2 centuries. Today they revealed the stick. The stars remained quiet, waiting to see what would grow from the ashes of assumptions.